Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club podcast. We're your weekly comic book reading club where, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read.
So solemn. It's like you were about to deliver bad news to the country.
I thought about doing a monotone one, and
Which is what people love to hear.
I think that's some great energy to come into the show with, and we'll escalate it as it continues on.
Yeah.
It only works if you do it as Ira Glass. Welcome to the First Issue Club podcast, where, just like Reed Richards, we love a Sue Storm. I did it backwards on purpose.
You did do it, but that's all right.
On
You-
purpose.
You did your Ira Glass way.
Okay. Well, I'm Mike.
I'm Greg.
And I'm Ira Glass. No, I'm Vargas.
Do you think we could ever get Ira Glass on First Issue Club?
Are you
Dude.
serious?
I would shit myself.
Unless
you
we
a
had
big
him
This
tied
Amer-
up in the closet.
Are you a big This American Life fan?
No, I'm a big This American Life production fan. Like,
Oh,
The
you
s-
like the dude.
their whole vibe
Uh-huh.
is like perfect. I love his voice. I love the way that they do all of their audio. It's great. The content is
Settle down,
whatever.
man.
I know he's a radio host, but that's about it. He's on NPR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That ain't comic books, and that's not why I'm here.
Fair.
Well, this episode, we're going to do the things we normally do. We're going to say, hey, we also have a Patreon. If you can't get enough, go over there. Lots of video, fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch our regular episodes on YouTube now.
Yep.
Yep.
And they're just sitting out there for free on YouTube, not behind a paywall. That's correct?
Just the regular episodes.
The
The,
regular
Patreon
episodes
episodes are behind the paywall, but not for very much. Only for
For-
$3.99.
For our patrons, for $3.99 a month. We are going to be talking comic book news.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be talking the first issues we read this week, and we are going to be talking TowerCon,
Mm-hmm.
from which we had a great little visit.
Post TowerCon conversation.
The afterglow.
PTC.
Here,
See.
whoa, whoop. Got it in one. No notes.
What do we want to start with, fellas? I'll give you, you let me do my monotone intro,
Yes.
and do all the fun parts of
Yeah.
really getting everyone super riled up for
Yeah.
what's to come.
Frothing. People are frothing right now. Just wild.
Which of these things do you want to hit first, mi amigos?
So, firstly, TowerCon
TowerCon.
was the past weekend. We had a great time. I just hit the microphone with my hand, reminiscent to TowerCon, where I smashed a beer on the table
Yeah.
in the mere moments that we started.
I'm just glad I didn't get a picture.
Oh my God.
True.
And you had just bought a very expensive comic book.
Yes.
And thank God it was slabbed.
Yeah.
I
I got first appearance of the Wasp.
Yay!
We talked about it on the bonus episode, if people haven't listened to the bonus. First appearance of the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. I'm very excited. It's now the oldest comic book that I own.
Oh, cool.
but they still have worth.
But it's in a 3.5. I looked up and I was like, I wonder what happened this month in history.
Did I get scammed?
And it was the most notable thing was Kennedy's I'm a Berlin
Bitch,
like
I'm a lover.
Ich bin ein
Ich bin ein
Berliner.
Berliner.
Yeah. Speech. So that was cool. It just felt like looking that up, I was like, man, this comic's fucking old.
Yeah.
It was just it got me thinking about like history.
Man, I wonder if John F. Kennedy read this.
and the time of publication. Yeah, JFK was
That wasp broad.
Man, that Janet Van Dyne.
what have you?
What a looker.
One day she's gonna name a superhero team. It is cool. So Janet Van
Kind of
Dyne
mouthy, though.
named the Avengers the Avengers.
She sure did.
It was her old. What? Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Roller derby team.
It was her old roller derby team. She was a punk rocker in the 80s that transported back in time.
Yeah.
Just post-disco. She
Uh-huh.
was still enjoying roller skating.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvel predicted all of this stuff and has
Yeah.
a great history with time travel and predictive trends.
Yeah. The final thing that time traveling Janet Van Dyne said was just like, oh, the final thing about 9/11, and then she just disappears.
Marvel predicted Billy Idol.
And Billie Eilish.
But no, it's super cool to have the first appearance of an original Avenger.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot when I'm talking about a lot of my comic book collection, that I think it is very sad what you can attain first appearances of women characters for that have massive standing in pop culture when
Mhm.
compared to their male counterparts who may have much less.
No joke.
And the fact that I could even that a good, I think it's good condition is 3.5 copy of an Avenger is just like insane.
It is insane. It's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
I'm glad
Something
you
like
have
that seems like it should be like $1,500 or something.
$1,500.
1.5K, I was gonna say. It seems like a $1,500 comic.
It really does. Because like she named the Avengers.
Yeah.
And she's had a long-lasting history with the characters and
I wonder. Well, that issue's got to be worth more because that's got to be Avengers #1, right?
Avengers #1 is the
issue
one
where
where she names the
yeah.
team. Yeah, it's at the end
it's,
of their.
it's the final page.
Yeah, and it's worth more because it's got more men in it. So
And there's
That
only men
tracks.
on the cover, I think.
yeah.
But I think it's her. I think it's her call sign. I think Janet Van Dyne was in the Air Force or Navy.
Or what? Really?
Yeah, and Avenger was her call sign.
Oh, cool.
So she's got a cool back history.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got that, and then we got to talk to Kyle Strom,
Yep.
and he's an amazing artist, and then he's also from Kansas City, so that's why I got to meet him. And then he dropped some pretty cool comic book information on us that some secret projects coming up. If you want to learn about those, go to the Patreon. It's on the free section, so you don't have to pay to listen to that episode. But it was a great time. TowerCon has always been great. I have yet to be disappointed by this mini-con that happens here in Kansas City quarterly.
Yep. So shout out to Beskar Books for letting us crash the party and record an episode there. That was really fun.
Yeah, we can't wait till December when they do their year anniversary show,
Ooh la la.
which they're going to be pulling out all the stops.
It's gonna be dope.
I'm going to dress up as Santa Claus probably.
Wow.
Or Santa Paws.
That's something for me to really look forward
It's whatever
to.
I can afford at the time.
Maybe I'll hold back my review of the Scratch and Sniff Santa cover
For that episode. Can we that I like that variant covers are now veering in that direction.
Sure.
Cause like bring the weird stuff. Bring the die cut covers, bring the scratch and sniff, bring the embossed or glow in the dark stuff.
Doom
love
Patrol did the
that.
scratch off.
Yes, like the scratch your
The
ticket.
mirror thing. Yeah.
That stuff just fills my heart with joy.
Mhm.
Like I love the old acetate covers that when you peeled it, it revealed other things. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they had like painted on the acetate. Like that stuff is why I got into comics. Like the gimmicky, because this is a hobby that you have to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically mandatory that you do. And so to have those gimmicky things pop out to you, like as a kid, that is what lured me to the racks.
I especially love that Doom Patrol scratch off one because it's kind of like you have to ruin the comic book
Yeah.
to get the payoff.
But that's totally Doom Patrol. Like
And
that's
yeah,
what they're all about.
Exactly right. It's almost like a good commentary twist for how like punk rock that book is.
Yeah.
Well, and they've got a history doing that. Do you guys
They
remember
had the sticker on the,
the
cover that you
sticker.
peeled off.
Yeah.
That was an homage to the
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that band? Fuck. Velvet Underground.
Velvet
yeah.
Underground.
Album
Yeah.
cover. Yeah.
Which the publisher Humanoid just did a big trade about the history of the Velvet Underground.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll be.
Is it in comic book form?
Yeah. So we'll be reviewing that on the website. pretty soon.
Humanoid. Okay, so one of you mentioned a trades segment on First Issue Club.
Yes.
Is that a bonus show or a segment we're gonna do?
A segment, really, if you
A
want.
segment.
Whatever you
okay.
want to do.
So I read 2 humanoid graphic novels this past week, and I really enjoyed them both. So I'm excited for you guys to
Read them.
read those and talk about them. Project Arca, and then the other one was a Stephanie Phillips like Muay Thai
Yeah.
boxing book that the name's escaping me at the moment.
8 limbs.
8 limbs.
8 limbs.
Because it's the 8 limbs of Muay Thai.
Aha.
That book, I love the twists and turns in 8 limbs.
Yeah.
And I think I won't try to shoehorn your review on it, but like I want it to be a little longer.
Sure.
I wanted a little more meat on that.
Did we all read it?
Some of us haven't because everyone else at the table is busy reading it. So
Well, you can take it with you today. So salty.
I'd rather just complain about it.
So salty, this guy.
Moving on to the news section, there's a few things we need to cover. Mad Cave Studios has the rights to Dick Tracy, and they'll be releasing new Dick Tracy stories coming March 2024.
Is Dick Tracy not in the public domain at this point? How fucking old is that character?
Okay.
No, because the original newspaper still owns the rights to it.
Oh, is that what it
and
is?
Well, they own parts of the rights to it.
Okay.
And Warren Beatty
Yeah.
bought a huge chunk of it.
Yep.
Because he had big plans for Dick Tracy, and it just
Well,
didn't happen.
did you see the story that he filmed a little, like a weird short as Dick Tracy?
Correct.
And he
Doing
only,
like a pizza commercial.
and he only did it to keep the copyright.
Correct.
Because I think you have to make something every
Yeah.
so often for it to not expire.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
And that's why I love Bush's Baked Beans.
Have you
Dick
seen it?
Tracy.
Did you
No.
watch his video? I wonder if he got like the full makeup on and everything.
Well,
or-
so that's what's
he's
that's what's
so old at this
Just
point.
like he's, but like
Just
in
like
the,
big
old.
schnoz.
Hi, I'm Dick Tracy for Little Caesar's Pizza.
that's what's so bullshit about it is like it's the same reason Roger Corman made that Fantastic Four movie
Yeah.
just so that the rights wouldn't lapse.
Yeah.
They never even intended to release it.
Because Warren
So
Beatty
stupid.
doesn't have any new ideas for Dick Tracy,
Yeah.
but he wanted to make for damn sure he had the rights to it still.
Yeah.
So fucking
I
stupid.
think he wants to go to his grave being like the only Dick Tracy.
Well, I mean,
I'll send him there.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so March 2024, Mad Cave's gonna be releasing new Dick Tracy stuff by Alex Segura, Michael Makar, and Geraldo Borge.
Let me ask you this about Dick Tracy.
Yo,
Would you be mad if they modernized the character?
so
Not at all.
You wouldn't. So if they bring him into now,
here's the thing. I read the synopsis or the press release of this, and the writer was just like, we're excited to give a more gritty and grounded view of Dick Tracy. And I was just like, ooh, trepidatious already because
Yeah.
the thing that I loved about Dick Tracy was the insane character design of every one of his
yeah, the bright yellow.
rogue gallery
Uh-huh.
people. Like you had Flat Top
Yep.
and like all these crazy names, and like they looked like the things that you were describing. That's where the charm
One of his
came from.
enemies is like straight up a triangle man.
Yeah, I mean seriously, it's like Zippy the Pinhead. You're just like, okay, like whatever,
Yeah.
dude, go for it. So like I don't want like Dick Tracy like cursing or like you know what I mean, like a washed up alcoholic. Like they like really like turn heel on it.
They
When
just
you-
make Dick Tracy Sin City.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
that's what I don't want. I want it to. Dick Tracy can live in that realm of camp and charm,
Yeah.
and like the walkie-talkie watches, and like the little kid that helps him. Like that's
What would you do with the walkie-talkie watch now?
You just make it a smartwatch.
yeah,
But then it's not like especially cool.
right.
Yeah.
That's why Dick Tracy and like Get Smart have to live in a certain time period.
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly
so,
right.
man. Look,
So you modernize him and he just wears a smartwatch like a normal guy.
look,
He
dude.
doesn't have like any like
As the resident James Bond fan at the table,
Yeah.
you can modernize that kind of stuff. Like look at Daniel Craig. He had basically no gadgets, right? The gadget that he had was the tracker that he put in his shoe
uh-huh.
and a gun that only he could shoot.
But I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the big thing of James Bond, patreon.com/firstissue club. We do a Patreon about James Bond on there. The thing about James Bond is it was less about gadgets and more about him just being a suave super spy with a gun.
But the whole thing in the 70s was the gadgets. He had a
But that's of a time period. That's when Dick Tracy was popping off. That's when like Get Smart and The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
And the watch is a singular accessory that you just associate so strongly with Dick Tracy.
Yeah, it's that and the
he's
yellow coat.
He does not seem like the character without a walkie-talkie watch.
So I will say this. In the promo art, he's wearing a walkie-talkie watch.
Is he? Okay.
And
But
I'll say
it's set in like the 20s.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But he has a walkie-talkie watch.
I think you guys are putting my man Dick Tracy in a box.
Oh, we putting baby in a corner?
And you know what? He's more than his walkie-talkie watch.
Okay.
He's a rich, sophisticated woman who don't need no man.
Well, since we're moving on from that, the ultimate invasion, it's ended. Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: the Ultimate Universe is back, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's been announced that Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cicchetto are doing an ultimate Spider-Man franchise coming next year. We'll find out more about it in October when New York Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
And presumably, so they're doing a one-shot called Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, more information will be coming in that.
I imagine that's like what Marvel does with every new big kickoff thing, where they just like give you a big annual sized flip book of just like, here's the stuff to look out for. We get to like, oh, hey,
$12, please.
Yeah. Art germ cover.
Do we know if it's this? I'm assuming it's the same Ultimate Universe as before.
No,
it's a different
because
Ultimate
it's been
Universe.
recreated.
It's reset because of the events.
Yeah, so we don't even
Ultimate
know who this
Invasion.
Spider-Man's gonna be.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, the Spider-Boy that we're seeing now could be in the Ultimate Universe.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So, a lot of new things are happening. Am I excited about the Ultimate Universe being back? No, not really.
I would be more excited if they had announced, like, hey, Ultimate Spider-Man's coming back. We're also doing Ultimate Captain America and Ultimate Thor and the Ultimates.
I don't want to get into that again.
Really?
Me
No,
either.
Fuck no.
That's what I'm talking about. Because
I don't want two titles for every character.
Right. Because now I'm conflicted. Do I pick up regular Captain America or
Yeah,
Ultimate
I gotta
Captain
pick one.
America?
I missed the train the first time on all the Ultimate stuff. So
did I. So now I'm not. So now I don't feel FOMO for like this new stuff coming out. I'm just like, skip it. Like I don't need it.
I just like the idea of creators getting the freedom to like do stuff like Miles. Right?
I totally agree with that. And if it's good, I'll get it in trade. But like that is a lot now.
Yeah.
That is that was my biggest complaint when it happened in the first place. I'm just like, what the fuck? I have 2 Spider-Man books I have to look out for now. It was just too much. I liked the general vibe of the idea of the Ultimates, like different versions of the superheroes that we've come to know and love.
But it was
dope.
Yeah, my thing was I could go into my comic shop and I could pick up an issue of Fantastic Four and be like, I haven't been reading Fantastic Four, but I get the gist because I know who the characters are.
Yeah.
If I see a cool cover of one of the Ultimates and I don't even like clock necessarily that it's in the Ultimate Universe and I pick it up and I get it home and I'm like, what? This isn't who Reed Richards is.
This isn't my Johnny Storm.
Yeah, it's very it was just a pain in my ass, I felt like, when it was happening.
And it littered the dollar bins as soon as it was over.
Right.
But we have more to look forward to apparently for the Ultimate Universe.
We'll see. If it's just if I can keep it to Jonathan Hickman writing an interesting new Spider-Man, I'm automatically giving that 5 or 6 issues sight unseen.
Yeah.
I'm just going to buy it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Marco Cicchetto, like,
wonderful
he's a crazy artist. So, like, hell yeah. My last bit of news here. Distillery announces comic from artists Mirka Andolfo, that is the follow-up series from Devil's Cut.
Yeah.
From the big annual that they put out, and it's called Blasphemous.
Yeah.
Which like kind of follows like the
It's like demons or pop stars.
yeah, and like the obsession with like media and like clout and like just how they deal with that.
That
So,
story was dope in Devil's Cut.
It was cool.
yeah. So, but it kind of gives some weight to our argument, Vargas, of just like those little stories in that annual are going to get bigger spin out because this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries.
Oh,
that
cool.
Merca's doing. So, I mean, Chunyan did one as well, and like so many others. Like that is just kind of like their preview section before the movie of
Totally.
like, here's some stuff we're working on. Like, look out for it in the coming year.
I think they're all going to be like massive premium format books too.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
I'm seeing is
Yeah,
big
it looks-
old
It
covers.
looks like they're sticking with that, which is cool.
Yeah.
If the price is down,
Yeah, if the price is right.
yeah.
Which we'll see.
Yeah.
More to come
Well, I
on
think
that.
their thing is like we're a premium format publisher bringing you like the best talent, and this is like prestige sort of stuff. So I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the thing they're selling me. So I'm not gonna complain so much about the price
Sure.
point on it.
I mean, I'm gonna get it.
Well,
Don't get me wrong.
This is my thing again. If you're a big Merca and Dolfo fan,
Yeah.
pre-order it on one of many sites or your local comic shop so you get your 35% discount on it and
Right.
pay much less for that comic book.
Right.
Where do you get a 35% discount on comic
Previews.
books?
Everything I pre-order on Midtown is 35% off cover.
That's
T-Fall's
bananas.
T-Fall's the same.
T-Paw's 15%.
T-Fall's 30 if you order it before the FOC.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. it
If you
is.
pre-order it for the FOC, you get 30
I think Midtown just did the extra 5 just to like
I had no idea.
edge
to steal.
Tifa. Yeah.
I had
They're
no
like
idea.
their biggest online competitor.
We will show you the way. And that's all the dynamic breaking news that I had.
I want to ask you guys about your thoughts on Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Are you guys going to pick it up? Are you going to be
Yes,
Moon
I've
Knight
already,
boys
pre-
with me?
I've
Yeah,
already pre-ordered
totally.
it.
Hell yeah.
It's a big moment in comic book and Marvel lore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the all Moon Knight episode then.
All Moon Knight so
Where we were now Moon Boys, and by the end of it, we'll become Moon Men.
Moon Men.
Moon Man.
Were you going to
to
cover
be
your
Moon
trade
Man.
this episode or no?
No, I think we were all going to read it.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
everyone's got to read.
I misunderstood. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Did you read Project Arca?
Not yet. It was
Oh.
wrapped in four.
I didn't know if you had 2 copies of it or just the
Oh,
one.
No,
yeah.
no.
Oh
That
my
thing
God.
looks awesome.
It was so fucking cool. It's adapted from a novel.
Aha.
Oh. And novels, if you don't know, are basically comic books with no pictures.
Yeah. The
That sounds terrible.
the
It's
words
the
do
worst.
the picture making. in
Yeah,
your
like so
brain.
it's crazy. You read the words and like a mind picture starts forming like in your brain, and
Oh, like a brain movie. I've had those.
You know what I'll say this was a really good
a waking dream.
This was a really good adaptation too because it didn't do the thing where there's just like fuck tons of narration.
I hate
I
that,
hate
yeah.
especially in movies too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a book made into a movie and
Yeah.
it's just like
Why are
it's
you
just-
reading me the
it's
chapter?
just someone reading at you for
Yeah.
like an entire like bit where they made a good point of this on one of the movie podcasts I listened to. I can't remember which one, about how
How did this get made?
sometimes writers just fall in love with the wording of something, and if they're involved in the script being adapted and creating the thing, they're just like, I can't lose this line.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make sense for a character to ever say this beautiful thing you wrote. It might have been subtitles only, which is the Hollywood Handbook guys movie podcast. It's pretty good.
It is funny when like you see movies that have been adapted from novels, and like you see like actors trying to like portray a beautiful verse from a book, but like as like common speech, and you're just
Yeah.
like, no
People don't talk
fucking
like that.
way people talk like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a buffoon. Like, I trip over, like, goodbye and good luck all the time.
Uh-huh.
So, like, there's no way that, like, this eloquent British bastard is, like, speaking in soliloquy the whole goddamn time and not stepping over one word. Not one word. I don't think so.
Get him, Greg.
Rant
Yeah.
over.
Let's get into the comics.
Okay.
Comics.
Our famous transition music.
I only read one book this week.
I read 2.
Good.
Hey.
I read.
Hey, guys, 3 comics? That's an episode, my man. That's plenty.
I am stoked about. I was more stoked about this Dawn of DC book than I was for any of the other ones.
Oh.
Cy Spurrier and Mike Deodato Jr.'s Flash.
Yeah, so I've always been a big proponent of, I don't like Flash books because they just seem really hard.
Same.
You guys are missing out. Josh Williamson's run on Flash
Was 25
so
years.
good. It's so good though.
I do like Cy Spurrier a lot.
I love Cy Spurrier. I love Deodato Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And this is issue 801 in legacy number.
Correct.
They should have made it. What they should have done, skip the stupid anthology thing everyone's like, I don't want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And they should have made this big first issue
800.
800.
Hit it with a whammy.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Yeah. All right.
And also, we should probably note, because I'll be mentioning it in the Power Girl book that I covered, all these people are a little different now because of the Lazarus reign.
Yes, that's why it's like dawn of a new DC.
Yeah, so everyone's got kind of the same powers, but some are a little different.
Yeah. Well, so the first and foremost,
I've got takes on the Power Girl thing.
Sweet.
first and foremost, this is Wally West.
Mhm.
This is not Barry Allen. And it is very much a family book, kind of first and foremost. It has that same kind of like Batman vibe
Yeah.
where you get like the Batman team up
Sorry,
books.
I immediately went to Fast and Furious.
Oh, yeah, it's about family.
Flash is about family.
He is fast and furious.
He is fast and furious.
They've renamed him to Dom.
This is very much like a jumping off point for like larger stories that are going to show later on. Some of the plot points they bring in here. Wally is working for Mr. Terrific at Terrific Tech, which is a cool interaction. You get that, you know, Wally's kind of like a playful, carefree guy, and Mr. Terrific is like
Very self-serious.
very self-serious, very straight-laced. They are investigating aberrations within the Speed Force, where, like, for example, Wally says that like punching somebody hurts, and if you know anything about the Speed Force, it's supposed to like basically protect you from all that stuff while you're doing speedster stuff. Some of the other weird Speed Force stuff that happens in here is while Wally's trying to save some people, they get like stuck in like Speed Force time bubbles and start floating up away from the Earth. We don't know why it's happening.
And you're confused why I stay away from Flash
Greg's
books?
expression while you're explaining this, it's just like, oh man, we're getting into the logistics of the Speed Force finally. Yes. It does not sound interesting to me. Sorry.
But does he have new? Vargas is just shaking his head at us. You are the disappointed dad right now.
You guys.
I love Cy Spurrier, but I'm like, I can't hash out this whole family. I can't. Their thing is going fast in the Speed Force.
That's it.
And it's just
That's
like,
all you need to know.
That's
They run fast.
That's the whole thing. But that's my thing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't need it in my life. I buy so many, out of my comics budget, I got to draw a line somewhere, and the Flash is plenty below
And
that
apparently
line.
it's at the Scarlet Speedster.
Even if one of my favorite writers is writing it, and no kidding, Cy Spurrier is one of my favorite all-time comic book writers. This is a draw a line comic book for me.
Well, you're missing out because so Gorilla Grodd shows up in this, and he's doing Speed Force stuff too. We don't know what's going on with that.
Oh wait, can I just interject real quick? Honestly, the Flash maybe has the best rogue gallery.
Yeah,
Like his
super sick.
the character designs for his villains are pretty rad.
That Rogues book we were just talking about, all Flash villains.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
So Grodd shows up in this. I know Mirror Master is going to show up in a future book, but the big reveal at the end of this is that the Speed Force. I'm interpreting this. The Speed Force is getting personified.
Oh, so it's gonna become a person.
A creature shows up at the end of this book.
You're inside of me.
Well, so there's this.
Oh, get out, get out.
You're in my veins.
Me no likey. That's his first line he utters.
Mother.
Why is he Danzig? Mother. So there's this like bolt of blue light that goes
Superman.
throughout this whole book.
Yeah.
And at the end, you find out that it's just like some dude, and you know that this is a Cy Spurrier book because it becomes body horror immediately.
Oh, okay.
And this dude like melts and like twists and becomes this horrible like suffering person, and out of his body comes this horrible looking Speed Force creature.
Okay. Okay, you've hooked me
Yeah.
with that stuff. But the pill I gotta swallow to get there is rough. It's a jagged
You guys
little
need
pill.
to give it a chance.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'll have you brief me on each new issue.
Look, I'm just saying, last time I talked about a Flash book on here, you guys were like, oh yeah, it sounds great.
The 60-second
Yeah, 60-second war.
Yeah.
Ruled.
That concept was very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, this is going to be awesome too.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. And both those books were great. But I was fulfilled just from your
Yeah.
description. I didn't have to read it. And like the for the Flash, the idea and the concepts and hearing about it is way better than me sitting down and being like, okay, so what the fuck? And also, I keep getting confused with Barry Allen and Wally West because they look the goddamn same.
Just because they have the same costume.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And are related.
do you see? Do you see, folks? Bring back Impulse. That's all I'm saying. Well, I read a book on DC called Power Girl.
I hate Power Girl. She's just Superman, but a lady. You see, that's how you guys sound.
Well, take it up with Leah Williams and Eduardo Pansica.
Well, I think this is a great transition into her new Lazarus reign power.
Oh yeah, she
the
ditched
portal one?
She ditched the cape and got a coat.
She ditched the cape,
Which is-
got a coat.
She follows the exact thing that I want in every comic book. Give our heroes coats. They look way cooler in coats.
For sure.
Yeah, than capes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so her new thing.
The portal thing.
No, does she do a portal thing?
She has a new one where she can like punch things through portals into like at the end of this book there's a bomb. Okay.
Okay.
She takes the bomb from Earth to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That's one of her new powers. She can think it and appear there.
That's dope.
Okay. One of her things is telepathy.
With her new friend.
Yes. That she's been doing like telepathy therapy and
Mhm.
and helping other people out with like mind invasion problems by like diving into their consciousness and solving those problems.
Right.
So I think one of the things was Power Girl is a iconic character that is somewhat well loved, but is too similar to all of the other super
Kryptonian.
Kryptonian family.
Yes.
Um,
It should be noted she's from a different Earth.
yes, she's from Earth 2.
Earth 2. Yes.
God.
You see, folks?
Nerd alert.
You see?
But in any case, I feel like they somewhat Jean Grey-ified her. If she can punch things through portals, they
Mhm.
somewhat America Chavez-ified her.
Yes.
They're just differentiating her and giving her a couple more powers that make her a different sort of hero.
They're making her more complex than her initial debut was girl with a big boob window,
Yes.
which
Right.
is fine because she had the same powers essentially as Superman. She's very strong. She can fly, but her identity was wrapped up in her body essentially, in her breasts. Let's get it out there. And so now they're adding more layers to her as a person and as a superhero.
Well, which is why I thought the telepathy thing from Leah Williams was genius, just because it's like, we'll immediately make this like a thinking person's character.
Yeah. It's like having a radio watch right in your head.
But yeah, Leah Williams is so good at writing.
Full stop.
Yeah, full stop. Totally. But in particular, great at writing women, great at writing women with depth, great at writing women with depth that are
Real?
feel like sexy and strong and like own their sexuality and stuff like that.
Sure.
There's just been a handful of different like X comics she's written that have this vibe to it that I think is going to serve Power Girl really well in making that character less of a sideshow character and more of a fun empowerment sort of character.
Yes. Okay.
A lot of pressure on Leah Williams to write this book, because when a lot of people saw her name attached to it, they assumed that it was going to be making some grandiose statement about femininity and what it means to be like
and
objectified and things like that.
I think really the message she's going to try to get across here from the Night Terror stuff I read and this book I read this week is just like, it's about belonging and like who you are as a person and like rebranding yourself.
Yeah, being part of the super family, but like not really being welcome, or not feeling like she's one of them.
Yeah, and so at the end of the book is basically Power Girl getting a new non-superhero name, Paige, and like trying to rebrand herself as like this philanthropist in science. Wow. Porky Pigging it over here. And trying to do good outside of her superhero-ness.
Yeah.
And, she throws this party to introduce her new secret identity, which she immediately goes into Power Girl, like in front of camera, so it's already ruined.
Yeah.
And she when she teleports this bomb from this like new villain that we see on the scene, she drops it in the Mariana Trench in the bottom of the ocean. I know I said that wrong, folks. I'm sorry. But like the Atlanteans are now mad at her.
Yeah.
And so the last bit of the book is her interacting with Superman. I'm just like, listen, we got to talk here for a second. I'm just like, you need to think more when you do stuff. Because like, if you have the power to teleport a bomb anywhere, it's like you could have done space, the Earth's core. Like he's just like lists these places just like, he's like, we finally had brokered peace with like the Atlanteans, and like now that is gone. Like, I know you're trying to figure this stuff out, but like we as the Kryptonian super family, like we need to hold ourselves to a higher pedigree.
Yeah.
And then he reveals that like there's a new virus going around that is affecting humans, and like the main cause of it is the Kryptonian blood from Earth 2. So like, so he like sends her on this mission of just like, you need to figure out where it's coming from and how it's hurting people, because like the general public news stations haven't picked up on it yet. But he's like, I need to stay here and like figure all this shit out. But like, you need to go where this virus is picking up and figure out if there's like another person from Earth 2 that is Kryptonian. Like,
that'd be interesting.
Like hurting people.
We get a reveal of a character from Earth 2.
Yeah, or like someone has taken your blood. Like, so now we're going to go on this whole other journey. And so, it's another thing about rebranding yourself, being who you are, the bumps and bruises that come along with it, and worldwide viruses.
It sounds good, but there's no Speed Force in it.
Minimal Speed Force.
How many gorillas does she fight?
None yet.
Because there's a lot in Flash.
Let me ask this:
You may.
Is Superman not fast enough to enter the Speed Force, or is like anyone in the Super Family like a Power Girl? Can they enter the Speed Force?
That is a Quora question that I was gonna ask.
Oh, really?
They are not tapped into the Speed Force.
So they don't get their speed from the Speed Force. The Flash family does.
Correct. That's why
their chakras are different.
That's why the Flash will always outrun Superman.
Okay.
Because his is from
the Earth's sun.
An entire Superman is limited to like how fast a Kryptonian can run.
Yeah.
Just like there is a top speed for a human.
Mm-hmm.
But the Flash is like literally tapped into a thing that makes things go
ancient
fast.
Source of power in the world. Like that's kind of cool. Like that is like really neat. But like, and not to get back to the Flash stuff, but like they beat the shit out of that storyline. Like I know the Speed Force is like the whole thing, but like get a new bit.
Well, that's what's cool about this particular story is that like throughout it, he goes to work and he's working with Mr. Terrific, and they are like trying to quantify and figure out what the fuck the Speed Force is. And Wally is saying like, as a speedster, it is like my god, right? Like
no, for sure. Yeah.
I this is a thing that's thinking and feeling, and all these scientists are like, no, it's numbers and math.
This is my Deepak Chopra.
Well, and then at the end, it's like this horrible deity that shows up. Whatever, you guys don't even care. You don't even care about the Flash.
I like that aspect of it.
What do you want to see personified Speed Force do?
Well, is it gonna be friend or foe?
Start a screamo band.
Wait, I'm gonna
speed metal.
Oh, there you go. Now you're talking.
Think of
I am the Flash.
Think of the solos personified Speed Force could play. Oh.
Yeah.
It looks like an alien.
All right.
With spikes?
Yeah, you're kind of sold now, aren't you?
I mean, it looks cool, but I still want it explained by you.
Is that a spike cape?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It looks like, you remember those trees that used to be in...
Do you remember trees?
In Lee Summit? Lee Summit had all these, like, diseased trees that had, like, crazy spikes coming out of them.
That sounds metal.
If they looked like that, I definitely wouldn't remember what the hell you're talking about.
My neighborhood had a lot of them.
What else did you read, Greg?
I also read Usagi Yojimbo, Ice and Snow, Part 1.
Dope.
Of 5 by Stan Sakai on Dark Horse, but it's also on Dogu Publishing, which is Stan Sakai's
imprint.
This is your standard Usagi story, which is not a dig. It is a call to arms, which is like everyone should be reading this fucking book because Stan Sakai has been doing the same storyline, the same through line for damn near 30 years now, maybe more so.
Is this a safe space?
Yes.
I've never read a Usagi.
Oh,
that's fine.
Nor a Yojimbo.
Which is crazy because your love for samurai films, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, totally.
This is anthropomorphic creatures as samurais.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is some same old stuff. Like they're traveling through the Japanese high mountains, run across some bandits. They handle them quite easily, but then they stumble upon a mysterious hut by this woman who is too eager to help them spend the night in her cold mountain hut all alone. And then demonology ensues. But it's great. I mean, like, it is wild in this day and age that I think the only other people I know that have done it is Todd McFarlane with Spawn. Is this like he's the sole creator of Usagi? I mean, now McFarlane has like other people doing like the spin-off books, but like,
yeah, that's Todd McFarlane passed off Spawn at some point, and Stan Sakai's been like the sole person doing Usagi.
I don't think he'll let anyone else do it
ever. Though I think maybe the longest running creator with a single character thing has got to either be Savage Dragon, because that's Eric Larson's always stayed on it, right?
Yeah.
Or Usagi. I'm trying to think of another one.
I think those two are pretty neck and neck.
With a single creator. I was gonna say Hellblazer because that was like they
Hellboy?
Hellblazer.
Hellblazer.
Because they aged Constantine in real time.
Okay.
That was like a single through line for like 20 years or something.
Yeah.
Marmaduke.
Oh yeah, it's definitely Marmaduke. yeah. It's Garfield, Jim Davis.
Yeah, if you counted Sunday Funnies,
syndicated cartoons.
I mean,
Kathy.
Ack.
Man, am I right?
Chocolate.
Ack cab. But
Talk about a T-shirt.
yeah, Ack cab. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big Usagi fan, and this book was just like it's like coming home after a college visit and eating your mom's like cooking and stuff. You're just like, this is familiar. This is home. Like. This is what I needed.
What I'm interested in is, as someone who's like, clearly the material interests me. But as someone who's never read an Usagi comic, is this something I can jump into?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
A lot of the Usagi stuff is like pick up an issue and have fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
that's why he's so brilliant as a creator. He's just like, I just want to tell fun stories.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you don't know this person's name or not.
Cool.
And so even the collected editions from Dark Horse are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And so if you ever want to check them out, like, of course you can get it digitally from like places like Omnibus and where else, but the collected editions off of Dark Horse, and I think you can get them on like Amazon or eBay or whatever, like they're not expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of them are in black and white too. It was a long time before they started doing them in color.
The early stuff's a lot of black and white.
So you can get a lot of the collected editions on like newsprint, like manga. Which is what keeps those so inexpensive.
Yeah.
So I think there are some collected editions out there that are very affordable.
And that actually adds to the charm of it. Like the black and white newsprint collections are like, oh man, this is like flashback in time.
Yeah.
Flash, Speed Force. That's all I got. And I think we should just end it there.
Yep. Wow. Another episode, another adventure. And isn't that what these superheroes give us? A little bit of escapism and a little bit of adventure. We've been the First Issue Club guiding us through and you through that adventure. Power Girl #1.
Wow, I'm falling asleep.
Definitely read it. Usagi. Definitely read it. Flash #1. If he's your thing, read it.
Good God.
And
Goodbye,
we'll
everyone.
See ya. First Issue Club is edited and produced by Mike DeStacy, Greg Lichtag, and Andy Vargas. Follow us on social media at First Issue Club, and check out our Patreon for videos, audio, and more at patreon.com/firstissueclub.